Hello, guys. Welcome to today's mid-program success interview. I'm joined by Eric today, who has been working with myself for around about 10 weeks at this point. We started literally at the start of the year, so we've been working through Q1 together. We're coming up towards the end of the initial 12 weeks. Eric's seen some really awesome results I'll let Eric share about those before I get into them, but he's been seeing some awesome results all around in his health stats that he had initially set out to achieve. But I'll let Eric introduce himself and then we'll dive into all of that stuff. So, Eric, just let the guys know who are watching, like who you are, where you're from, what do you do, etc. And we'll dive in.
Thanks, Ryan. Eric Johnson. I live in the Chicagoland area with my wife, three kids, and two dogs. Like most people that you work with, a busy executive, work in the local government space, in the wastewater utility field. Uh, and, like a lot of people, life takes over, kids, family, things get stressful and was happy to take this journey with you to focus on my own health and be a little selfish and prioritize my own health needs.
Awesome, man. So, first of all, um, what was the initial kick, initial decision, initial motivation for you to want to do this? Like, what was going on maybe in your own life for you to make that decision that maybe at this point in time in my life, in your life, that you wanted to start focusing on, as you said there, being more selfish and prioritizing yourself?
Looking at, you know, everyone says age is a number, but you look at it, you hit, you're 41, you're approaching 42. Uh, Really, the process we're heading into the holiday season last year, Thanksgiving, Christmas time. Wasn't super happy with, where my health was. Looking at the scale, my weight had gone up and, just knew that I wanted to make a change for better overall energy, better health. Clothes fitting better, and I keep saying selfish in a good way, but, wanting these things, knowing that if I had better energy, better, confidence, better health, I'd be a better father, better husband, better employee, because you have more to give, when you have more energy and are taking care of yourself first.
Mm, awesome. And that's a really good point. One of the things that I don't know if I've said it to you during working together, but one of the things I often bring up with guys such as yourself and maybe the guys watching this is a quote that I saw somewhere, and I don't know who said it, which is your your desire to be Superman is your kryptonite, and I think that's relevant for a lot of guys like you kind of touched on there, where you want to help everybody else, you want to be a good boss, a good leader,
Mhm.
a good dad, a good husband, but then all of that at the expense of yourself, right?
Yes.
Um, well, I remember at one point a few weeks ago, you said at the start of this you was apprehensive or whatnot, and you wasn't too sure, but you took the leap anyway. So coming into this, did you have doubts? And if so, what were they?
I'm a natural skeptic. I would say I had doubts and, why would this be different? How is this different than trying to do it yourself? If it, in a lot of ways, it's not rocket science. It's, you need to work out, you need to eat healthier, you need to do these things. But what makes this different? For me, it was that accountability component that you get from the one-on-one and the group sessions, knowing that you're going to meet weekly, have to give updates, and, working through, when there's setbacks or, the week doesn't go perfectly, how can we tweak this? How can we move forward? And also just, having someone help develop a plan. You think, what's the best way to achieve it? And, we can't be good at everything. And having that support makes a big difference.
And I suppose lastly, then, if you was to touch on some of the key wins, the key stats, the key improvements that you've seen throughout your time so far, what would be the biggest ones that you'd like to point out that you are the happiest with at this point?
The happiest with I'd be consistent weight loss. Since we started, talking at the end of last year, about 30 pounds of weight loss, which I'm very happy with, and it was beyond what I thought where I'd be at this time. I think, like I said, it goes back to that accountability versus just trying to do it yourself and being like, oh, this week didn't go well, I'll try again next week. So happy with that. Happy with that coincides with just an increase in energy and you know overall just better feel day to day.
Awesome. Is there anything that you would say to, those other skeptics that maybe are out there, like you was maybe a few months ago, that are sitting on the sideline, sitting on the fence, unsure of whether just to take the leap, and maybe have tried things in the past, maybe have
Mhm.
failed, maybe have gone on that roller coaster. Is there anything that you particularly maybe want to say to those guys?
I would say give it a try. If you're stuck, this might be the thing that helps, kickstart your journey towards better health. And, it's, I believe you can do anything for 3 months. And, if you get the results that you want, that's great. It's going to set you up moving forward. I think it's going to give you that motivation, with that accountability. And, I'm a big believer. I tell my staff all the time, trust the process. And this is one where you just have to, you know, if you're not sure, take that leap and then trust the process.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you doing this little mini mid-program interview to share with the guys watching. And guys, if you are watching and you're maybe resonating with anything that Eric here has shared, or any of the other guys that maybe you've also watched in the past up to this point, then reach out. Mostly on LinkedIn. That's where I hang out mostly. Facebook, email, whatever, wherever wherever you've got me. Feel free to reach out, and I'll be able to have a very quick chat, just as I did with Eric and the other guys. Nothing arduous, nothing